Okay, I think we're live. This is a little bit of a new setup, so hopefully the and hopefully the video is good. So my name is Kayla Cox. For those of you who don't know, I am the owner of 6 Miles to Supper. I have lost 80 pounds and kept it off using intermittent fasting, mostly OMAD during that time, and I walk 6 miles every day. And I've kept it off using intermittent fasting. I'm in maintenance mode right now, and I've been experimenting with a variety of different meals, like as far as like eating maybe 2 meals a day, or sometimes even 3 meals a day, just kind of mixing it up and seeing how loose I can be with intermittent fasting during maintenance mode this go around. I always eat whatever I want. I have no forbidden foods, and I take a cheat day every Sunday, no matter what. Okay, so I also wrote a book called The Laid Back Guide to Intermittent Fasting, and I have a podcast also. It comes out every Tuesday. There's a new video on this channel every Monday, and then of course we do these lives every week on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, all right. Also, for those of you who don't know, I have just started the Slow and Steady Success Academy, and I've built one course called Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss 101 that takes you from the process from start to finish with your weight loss journey with intermittent fasting, everything you can expect. It was the thing that I wish I could have known when I first started out so many years ago with intermittent fasting. And also, you can get the All Access Pass, which will give you access to that course plus any other courses that become available. And it's a monthly subscription. And you get access to our private Facebook group where I do a weekly Facebook Live group coaching session. So, and a new course is coming live this week. Weight Loss Success Mindset 101. So, and it's going to be a 6-week course. And I think people, if you're having trouble with your mindset, it'll be a very useful course for you. So, with that said, it is time to dive into some questions. We've got a couple from the Facebook group. We have a 6 Miles to Supper Facebook group where if you want to just be around other people who are doing intermittent fasting, people in there do it all different ways. Some people are doing intermittent fasting like I do it, like with no restrictions at all on the food. And some people in there are doing keto and intermittent fasting. Some people are doing OMAD. There's lots of people. The only rule in there is no diet dogma allowed, because I feel like really any plan works. It's just what you can stick with and what you feel comfortable with. So, all right, I think that gets us ready to go. The first question, and I forgot to write down who asked this, but it was somebody in our Facebook group. She said, I'm wondering about scheduling a cheat day since each fast really spans 2 days. I'm worried about shortening the fast day before and the day after. What do you recommend? Okay, so, and then she's also got another question, which is also, did you start doing a cheat day for maintenance or before? Okay, so let me take a little swig of tea. Okay, so the first question is about the timing of the fasting. I never ever worried about any of that. Okay, so, and I always took a cheat day. So the way I always did it was, okay, so my cheat day has always been on Sunday. So Saturday night I would just eat my one meal like normal, because at that time I was on OMAD. Any other time I would have just stopped my fasting window whenever was the normal time. Okay, so let's say I ate at 6:30 as my OMAD, and then I'm probably done by 7 at the latest. Okay, so then the next day, cheat day, if I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I wanted to eat something, I would eat something. And same way with the end of the day. Okay, so I was, let's say, eating at like 8 o'clock that night. I didn't like when I had like a fasting window, okay, because OMAD's just easier because it's like you just eat 1 meal a day. So on those times I would just say, okay, I ate my last meal, it doesn't really matter what time I ate it, 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then the next day I would just eat my meal at the normal time at like 6:30. Now, when I had like a fasting window, I still didn't care about the timing of it. I liked to keep my life as simple as possible with intermittent fasting, which means what I would do is I would just keep my eating windows at the same time each day. So, for example, if I was doing, let's say, an 18-6, I would just say keep my window open from maybe 2 to 8. That was something I did a lot. But I would just keep that the same. So I didn't like calculating all the time. Like that drove me nuts trying to say like, okay, what time did I have my last food? And then, to me, it was just simpler. It's all about keeping it simple and easy for me. So I didn't worry about it. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I was always more focused on, am I getting results? Not, am I perfectly, sticking to, like calculating and everything. It was just the general, okay, I'm going to eat between the hours of 2 and 8, through the week. And then on Sunday, I'm going to take the day off. So, and then did I start doing cheat day during maintenance or before? Always. So in January 2016, that's when I really instituted the cheat day. The year before that, in 2015, I had been all over the map with my, what I was trying to do, the exercises I was trying to do, the eating that I was trying to do. Sometimes I was counting calories, sometimes I was doing intermittent fasting, other times I quit intermittent fasting because I thought it's just not working. And so I would go on to other things, and I always kept coming back to intermittent fasting because it was one thing that really felt easy. But in 2015, I lost a grand total of I lost 20 and I gained back like 5. So it was like 15 pounds that year. Now in 2016, I got very clear on what I was doing. I said, okay, I'm going to do intermittent fasting 6 days a week. I'm going to take a cheat day on Sunday, and I'm going to walk 6 miles every day. And when I did that, that's the year I went from like 207 down to 157. So, 50 pounds. And then, throughout my maintenance time, I always kept, even though that first, okay, that was the end of 2016. From there till like September of 2017, so almost a year where I was just maintaining there. I ate a lot of different ways. I was really just trying to see how laid back I could be with my eating and still keep the weight off. And so during that time, though, I did continue to take Sunday as just a complete day off, just because it keeps it easier to know, like, okay, I definitely have that one day off every week. And so then when I went back in 2017, September 2017, I started this channel. I decided I wanted to lose a little bit more because I wanted to be firmly in the normal BMI. When I was at 157, I was like 3 pounds overweight, and then I wanted to get down into the 140s. And so that's what I did. But I still continued to take a cheat day, like so on Sunday. And, you can call it a day off, you can call it a cheat day, whatever. To me, it's just my cheat day. And then, so I took that the entire time. And then now that I'm in maintenance mode, I continue to take that day off, just so it's just a day off from fasting. So yeah, so I think and so cheat day I think is really important because it gives you practice, first of all, going off plan and getting back on plan. It doesn't let your streak get too long. You can just practice that thing that happens in your life. Like normally we kind of have these random things that happen that throw us off plan, and then it's really hard to get back on plan. But cheat day helps you to like get in the habit of like, okay, I'm off plan, now I'm back on plan. So that has been a really helpful thing. And it really helped me in the beginning to be really, really consistent with the intermittent fasting because I knew I had a break coming up. I always knew like, okay, if I'm really good for 6 days in a row, then I have the day off on Sunday. And it's good because intermittent fasting is different. You're being different than your family a lot of times. And just to have that one day just to eat normally, I always enjoyed that. So, okay, here's another question. And also be sure to pop any questions you have in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so this question is, I'm trying to move from 2 meals a day to OMAD. I am fine fasting during the morning hours, but when noon comes around, I really want my food. How do you recommend making the jump And if I do OMAD for 1 day a week while doing 2MAD, will it be just as challenging the next week because of that hunger? I really love my food, and she loves the channel and everything. Okay, so thank you for the kind words. Okay, so the first thing, if right now you're at 2MAD and you're wanting to jump to OMAD, that's a pretty big jump. As far as fasting length, I went very, very gradually from what I was, the way I was eating. Like when I was overweight, I was eating 5-6 times a day, and I started out with really short fasting windows and gradually lengthened them out. So, but like from when I went to OMAD, I was already at like a 24, fasting time frame. So that was not so much of a jump. But even that was challenging, because instead of like eating 2 meals and kind of learning what that felt like as far as getting full, eating enough, but not overeating, then going to 1 meal a day, there was like an adjustment there, figuring out, okay, how much do I really need to eat at this meal? Because I always wanted to eat until I was good and full, but not like overly full and not overeating, at that 1 meal. And that took a little bit of tweaking. I would do it really gradually though. So if you're at 2MAD, I would just like start pushing that second meal a little bit later in the day, or sorry, push your first meal a little later in the day, and then eventually you'll get them so close that you can just cut it down to 1. But before you do that, I would wonder, why do you want to get to OMAD? Because, and I'll tell you, like when I was doing it, there were a couple of reasons. The one thing was I liked how it simplified my life. I mean, intermittent fasting, the more that I lengthened out my fasting window, the more stuff I got accomplished, and there was just more free time. And I really liked structuring my days that way. But I also really thought it would make my weight loss go a lot faster. And that just didn't happen. I lost about a pound a week doing it either way. So if you're doing it only for the sole purpose of just hastening your results, I would say don't do that. Do what you can stick with easily. But yeah, I think OMAD is great, but I don't think it's just like this thing that you must get to in order to have weight loss success. Okay, so, and you also want to know if you do OMAD for 1 day a week, will it be just as challenging the next week? It depends on your body. Some people can jump from doing 5-6 meals a day down to 1 meal a day, and it's like it doesn't even bother them. And then other people have a big adjustment period. I'm talking weeks of really sticking with it, and that's kind of a tough thing, because you have to just mentally get through all those hurdles of just like this, I'm hungry right now and I'm not going to eat. I feel like intermittent fasting gets easier just the more you practice it anyway. So I'll give you an example. Like, wow, I can feel a lot more hunger today. I wouldn't eat, but I would just like notice, like, man, I'm feeling hungry today. And that was because I had eaten at, normal times on Sunday. And so that first day back was an adjustment. So this would be similar to what you're talking about. You're going from 2 meals a day, and then occasionally you do 1 meal a day. And is it going to get easier to do that 1 meal a day randomly? I think it will, but I think that's mainly just because you get used to intermittent fasting. So like, so doing the, coming back from cheat day, or like I've come back from like a week-long vacation and then fine. Like I just go right back to it when I get back, and it's no big deal because I'm just more experienced at fasting at this point. The same way with my 5-day fast, I thought it was going to be really, really difficult, and it turned out to be like really not hard compared to what I thought it would be. And I think that really is because I had for so long practiced intermittent fasting that it's like a skill, and you just get used to it. So there you go. Hopefully that answers it for you. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to see the chat, but for some reason it's not showing up. So let me see if I can get it to load. Sorry about this, everyone. There we go. Okay, there we go. There's the chat. All right. So hey, Daniel. Let's see. Steven, you want to handle 2 days, so you're wanting to do like one meal every other day. Is that I've heard of that. That's what Nolan Shahid does when he's not training. Like I used to think OMAD, I thought, man, that's kind of extreme. I mean, it's it's just one meal a day. It's just so different than what other people are doing. And then you hear about other people who practice this, like Wim Hoff or I think it's Wim Hof, yeah, and Stanley McChrystal, and but then this Nolan Shahid guy, uh, he's like a a runner who holds all these records and everything, and so he does OMAD when he's training. When he's not training, he only eats one meal every other day. He's something else. Let's see. Hey, Jerry and Angela. Let's see here. Sam, I think you got the link for the Facebook group. My husband's in here moderating the chat as 6 Miles to Supper, so thank you for doing that, Jake. Let's see. Oh, yeah, hey, from Iowa, goodness, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Canada, Illinois, Pittsburgh. Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, we're full. Yeah, if there is some lag, sorry about that. We're full-time RVers, and the signal is just hit or miss. So, um, yeah, and you can lower the. Jay already told you guys that you can lower the quality settings. Oh, and you're from Nova Scotia, and you're on week 2 of OMAD. I cannot pronounce your name. Aofi? Schofield? All right. So let's see. Yeah, so failure to relax. I agree that cheat day makes me grateful for getting back onto OMAD. Yeah. So and a lot of people will say that, like, that it is like a good comparison, I think, to have that, like it shows you, okay, here's how you feel like when you're just eating, maybe 3-4 times a day, depending on how much you eat on cheat day. But I find, for me, like, as far as my focus and everything goes, I prefer OMAD. I prefer just to be able to have I have coffee with half and half in it 3 times a day during my fasting window. But other than that, I just don't eat until my one meal, and that just simplifies my life. It makes it so my schedule is just like, it's just easier to get stuff done. Um, but then lately I have been like trying to force myself to eat, different different kind of patterns, like 2 meals a day or whatever, just because a lot of people ask me about that, like, well, do you have to practice OMAD forever? Like, if you lost the weight that way, does that mean that you really can't eat 3 meals a day again for the rest of your life or whatever? So I'm really just trying to experiment with that so I can report back to everybody. But so far, just to let you know, I've really found that it's been fine. I've eaten very loosey goosey as far as, like, I haven't been strictly on OMAD. 2 meals a day, sometimes 3 meals a day, and so far the scales, sticking in that like 5-day leeway I give myself. So yeah, or sorry, did I say 5? I meant 5-pound leeway with my 7-day average. That's what my goal right now is, to maintain between 140 and 145 with my 7-day average. So okay, let's see. Uh, Someone asked, what is bullet coffee? Okay, so bulletproof coffee, I think that's what you're referring to, is basically it's like coffee, and I'm not, like, you can Google like the recipe for it or whatever. It's basically coffee with fat in it, like some sort of fat. Like some people put butter in it. I think some people put MCT oil. MCT? Am I saying that right? I always get it confused with that pot thing. Well, I can't think of what it's called either, but medium chain triglycerides, MCT oil. What's it called? CBD oil. That's what I didn't want to say the wrong thing. MCT oil. I do not want to be perceived as telling people to put pot in their coffee. So MCT oil is like a fat, basically. You can blend it into your coffee. The theory behind bulletproof coffee is that when you add that kind of fat in with it, you the caffeine kind of, instead of having that, like, phew, of that jolt of energy, it kind of like levels it out so it goes on longer. I've tried it. I found it to be too much of a, like, of a process for me to want to do it every day. Like, I was the type of person, I was like, I just want to put some, I tried to put like butter in the coffee and like stir it around. You can't do that to really get it to taste right, because it'll just sit on top of the coffee if you don't really blend it. And I didn't want to have to dirty up my blender and everything, so I didn't continue on with that. I did try it for a couple of days, but and I didn't really notice that it made that much of a difference as far as like really helping me to feel more energetic for a longer period of time. Um, but um, but the theory, basically is that can keep you full. Like, a lot of people will use kind of bulletproof coffee while they're intermittent fasting. And like I said, I do half and half of my coffee, or sometimes heavy whipping cream. It's more expensive, so I usually don't buy it. I'll just buy the half and half. But um, uh, and I've always done that. And in the beginning of my intermittent fasting journey, I even had a tablespoon of sugar in my coffee every time I had it in my fasting window, which was 3 times a day. But and a lot of people would say don't ever do that, but I did it, and it was a crutch to get me through the fasting window, and I was still losing weight. So yeah, so that's what bulletproof coffee is. Oh, well, somebody had just answered it. Okay. Did you use bone broth or broth while on OMAD? I've never bought bone broth in my life, and I it's just not something I can see myself really enjoying. Like, I'm not a like that kind of thing, like that kind of soup, just like a broth just to drink. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know why. I never felt the need for it. I mean, because I was drinking coffee, that got me through, but a lot of people do, and I think you can certainly experiment with it, and I don't think it will hurt at all to do that. The main thing is just don't eat, like, it, just don't overthink it. Experiment with what you want. I mean, that's really the main thing, is figure out that plan that really works for you. Um, so let's see what else. What would be good keto fat in your coffee? Double cream, cream, half and half. Okay, so I don't do keto. I can tell you from experience, I did half and half, which would have less fat in it than, say, heavy whipping cream. And I lost the 80 pounds, kept it off. Like, it didn't hinder my weight loss. Now, some people use heavy whipping cream. I've talked to some other people who are doing keto, and they use heavy whipping cream, and they've had really good results. So I think you don't really have to worry about which one you pick too much. Laura, you asked, have I had any blood work done to show how that has changed? No, I haven't. Even when I was overweight, I didn't have any kind of issues, and so I haven't have had anything like that done. Let's see. Oh, okay. So it's pronounced IFA. Okay, so AOIFE is IFA. I'll try to remember that. Thank you for telling me that. Dillany, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly too. Okay. Do you know if people are able to control their diabetes with OMAD without keto? Okay, that's a really good question. So I don't know. Okay, first of all, because I'm not a doctor, but I will say, I looked into Dr. Jason Fung's website. He's got 2 different ones. There's one called like the dietdoctor.com, and there's like oh man, now I'm gonna get it confused with IMDb. Anyway, it's like it starts with an I, but anyway, it's his program that he uses, and he's a kidney specialist in Canada. He's all about intermittent fasting. The reason why he promotes intermittent fasting so much is because his patients were dying basically from diabetes, and they were just overweight and just couldn't lose the weight. Now, his thing is more like low carb, high fat. But I have heard him say in the past, like, if somebody wants to just keep eating the way they're eating, but do intermittent fasting, that, like, he will work with them basically, like, because the main thing I think for him is to get the weight off, like, and that it appears to me that that's really the big thing, is to get the weight off. And so if you find, like, what I would say is talk to your doctor, obviously, but I think the main thing, like, if you find that really the main way you find that you can stick with the thing is just to eat whatever you want at your one meal a day, and that will help you lose weight, I think that's a good path. That's just my opinion. I think that's a better path than trying something that's unsustainable for you, just for you. I'm not Some people stick to keto fine, and some people feel wonderful on keto. I'm not talking to those people. I'm just saying, like, if you've tried keto and you just find you feel horrible on it, or you just, it's not sustainable during this time. Yeah. No, I mean, occasionally I've got some vitamin D in there in my cabinet right now, and like a B vitamin, but I haven't been taking them consistently. Like, I think I took them for like a few days and then I just forget. So, um, and I did that because for a while I was having what I think may have been, or at least a slight form.
You're gonna have to give a short answer on the vitamins and supplements because it went away and nobody could hear any of it.
Oh no! So what do I need to hear?
Just answer that you don't.
Okay. So apparently my audio went out.
And the video.
And the video. But we're back now?
We're back.
We're back now. So sorry about that, everybody. But basically, no, I do not take any vitamins or supplements at this point. But if I ever show signs or symptoms of any kind of deficiency, I would certainly either supplement and or eat more food that has that thing in it that I need. Let's see. Okay. People still feel guilty about eating what they want to eat. I find OMAD freeing. I don't feel guilty. Yeah, Flossie, that was, and I just did a video about this, or this week's video was on this very topic about learning how to just eat everything guilt-free. And that was a process for me, but man, it's been freeing to finally just not feel guilty, like not feel bad that I'm gonna eat, a steak or a burger or a piece of cake or, a salad or whatever the thing is. I'm not gonna feel bad about it, or a baked potato or whatever the thing is. And it just frees up so much of my mind because before it was just like constant worry and battling back and forth in my head. And so I'm really glad that I learned how to do that. Okay, let's see. Clarissa, I'm so glad you made it. And I'm sorry about school killing your social life, but keep at it. You're doing awesome. You're improving yourself, right? Hey, Adela from Australia. Let's see, Dillany, did you ever have to up your salt intake? No. I think because, first of all, I tend to eat saltier foods. I think, like, I tend to put more salt on my food maybe than other people do, and I don't worry about that either. But the only time I've done anything like that where I actually tried to push salt a little bit into my diet was when I did the 100,000 steps in a single day for Jezza. That was a day where I thought, I might cramp up if I don't, because I ate my one meal the day before and I didn't eat anything while I was walking those 43 miles. I think it was 43 miles. And so what I did, I don't recommend the way I did it, but like I would just like take some salt and just like, lick it off of my hand. And I would do the same thing with the what is it? Is it magnesium? The no salt stuff. Not magnesium, potassium. Yeah, thank you. I did that also. And then the second time, and so that was just a one-time thing. One day, I didn't cramp up, as it turns out. Then during my 5-day fast, because sometimes my calves felt sore, I would do I wrote it down, and I'm sure it's in on my website, like how much of each thing I put in my bottle of water, but uh, I would sometimes make Keto aid is what it's called. So I think it was like a quarter teaspoon of the no salt stuff, which is potassium, and a quarter teaspoon of salt, and I would mix that into just a regular sized bottle of water and just drink it. But that was like I think like a once a day thing. It's been so long, like it's been several months now, but uh, that was the only time I've done it. I haven't felt a need to do it otherwise. Some people, they do that a lot. Like they're constantly supplementing with, or like constantly drinking the keto aid or whatever. I just didn't find a need for it. Another thing that I don't do is I don't push water. Like, so I just drink when I'm thirsty. I don't have like goals of how much to drink or anything like that. I just, like, if I get thirsty, I go have some water or tea or coffee or whatever the thing is. Um let's see. Thank you, Laurie, for that. idmprogram.com. That's the Jason Fung uh, uh, website. And let's see. Oh, right. Intensive dietary management. That's what they call it. So Dr. Fung says the low fat diet is fine too. So that's interesting too. I think Dr. Fung is really all about like whatever works. Like basically, he's trying to solve obesity. And you know, when you look around at different cultures, that's really one of the things that helped me to not feel guilty about the foods I was eating, because it's like different cultures eat a lot of different ways, and they have different foods in their diet. Some are really high carb, some are really low carb, some are high fat, some are low fat. It all seems to work. Let's see. Hey, Felicia and David from Oregon. Oh man. Okay, so this is where. Uh, let's see. Okay. Okay, so Miss Caramel, you asked, do your kids walk with you? What is your opinion on the kid Fitbits? My daughter wants one. She has no weight issues, but likes to see me count my steps. Okay, so sometimes my kids join us, and sometimes they do not. Uh, a lot of times, Jay and I like to just have some time just to chat, and a lot of times kids are doing their schoolwork, and they like to play outside stuff. So I know that they can walk with us, but I don't want to like force them to do something they really don't enjoy. So it kind of depends on the day. Uh, we do like to go for hikes, though. If there's a good hiking trail around, that usually works out a little bit better. Um, I think kid Fitbits are a good idea. I don't have any experience with the actual product because I've never bought one for my kids. But my kids did have little pedometers, like on a little watch or something, a long time ago, and I noticed they were more active when those steps were counting, and I think that's a good thing. Like, I know that yes, we should all just want to be more active and should just do it whether there's no Fitbit or whether or not you have the Fitbit on, but with all the distractions and all the things that can keep you sitting down and like with your phones or your tablet or your laptop or whatever you're using all the time, having that device that's like reminding you to move kind of gives you some motivation that maybe you wouldn't otherwise have. um, and so I could see how it would be neat to kind of have that, like you could kind of like challenge each other to get your steps, kind of motivate each other and hold each other accountable. So I think that would be neat for them. uh, let's see. Yeah. So, okay, Vicky, I've heard that some people gain weight when they first start intermittent fasting. How much time would you suggest we give intermittent fasting before figuring that maybe it just won't work? Okay, so here's what I would say. Give it 6 to 8 weeks of being very consistent. Okay. So figure out what your plan is, pick something, and try it out for 6 weeks solid and be consistent. And don't start counting the time until you're really consistent with your plan. What I see a lot of people do is they'll like try it for a week and then they'll say, "Oh, it didn't work," but see, that's not enough time. You really need that much time for your body, first of all, to adjust, for you to really be consistent with something, and because weight fluctuates like all over the place. If you're not a daily weigher right now, I think daily weighing was really, really helpful for me because it showed me how much weight just normally fluctuates. And this happens to people, even if you're at a normal weight, even if you're really not changing what you're eating, if you're just kind of eating a normal kind of thing, most people's weight fluctuates between like 5 and 10 pounds. Okay. So, meaning, on a single day, given in a given time period, your weight might be, between 140 and 150, and that's normal. Some people it's less, but it's just something to know about because, and so when you keep that in mind, first of all, it's very hard to know uh, how how much you are how much you really weigh, right? So that's why I like the 7 day average, because if you start to take that average week after week, so and I the way my tracking spreadsheet does it, it gives you a new 7 day average every single day. But if you watch that number, that one doesn't move as much. It doesn't fluctuate quite as much. It's still, it will fluctuate a little bit, but it'll give you a better idea of how much you weigh on average. And then you can watch that number over 6 to 8 weeks time and really get a feel for, is this plan working or not? Um, and weight loss itself, I think a lot of people have unrealistic expectations of how fast you'll really lose. I mean, on average, when I lost the bulk of my weight, it was a pound a week. When I got down into the normal BMI, I'm not sure where you're at on that whole thing, but when I got down to a normal BMI or right at it, my weight loss slowed to a third of a pound a week on average, which is like not much at all. Okay, so consider that your weight is doing this on a day-to-day basis, right? But then on top of that, you're trying to just slowly see it increment down. It's very hard unless you're just watching the 7 day average over a span of time. So yeah, so and also be paying attention to, like, do you like your plan? Are you enjoying it? Do you think you can stick with it? And if you find that you're not consistent, figure out what you can be consistent with first, and then go from there. Um, let's see. Okay. Let's see. I'm loving your videos and your approach to healthy lifestyle. Well, thanks, Isabella. I have a similar question to Vicky. I started OMAD 6 weeks ago, tracking my 7 day average and eating whatever I want, but I actually gained a couple of grams. Should I start making adjustments now? Do you mean like, okay, so gained a couple of grams? I don't know if you mean like kilograms, or do you probably you mean that, right? And I would say in that case, look at and see, first of all, how consistent you're being. Are you being very, very consistent? Okay, because if you're doing OMAD for 6 weeks really consistently, and if you've got a lot of weight to lose, you should probably by now be seeing the scale start to come down. Although I would probably, if you've been really, really consistent.
Started lifting weights too.
Oh, well, you also started lifting weights. Okay, so see, that's something to consider, because you quite possibly could be in that sweet spot, and it's like kind of hard. My understanding is it's kind of hard to get in that sweet spot where you're actually losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. In that case, what I would suggest for you, Isabella, is if you like what you're doing right now, if you are being really consistent with it, give it more time. I would say I'd say give it 6 more weeks. And during that time, focus on consistency. Don't worry too much about the scale. Keep tracking though to see what your weight is doing. Because if you try to just say, well, I'm not going to weigh, it'll probably drive you crazy. But just keep weighing. Pay attention to how your clothes are fitting and how you're feeling. You might find that your clothes are fitting looser, because that can be a good tell if like you're in that kind of an odd situation where it might just be that you are, you're really just gaining muscle. And also, some people find that if they're doing weight training, they kind of carry a little bit more water weight. So I would still give it time. I think you'll start to lose, and it also depends on how much you weigh right now. Like, uh, if you're currently like at a normal BMI, uh, or near it, okay, and you can find that out by putting your measurements in Google. Um, then you may not lose very fast at all. Um, and again, this goes to, if you're really wanting to lose and you're already at a normal BMI and you're lifting weights, I would say 6 more weeks. Keep doing what you're doing. I think you're going to be fine. I think you will end up improving like what you're wanting to improve probably. Um, so okay, I hope that helps. Uh, let's see, Matt Huff. Is this Matt Huffman? I wonder. My problem is beer. I drink like a fish every night after work, but I modify my food intake. Lost 10 pounds already. It's great. Totally not healthy. Don't recommend it, but that's just what I do. Well, that that is good though. First of all, that you're losing weight, and you know probably you'll find that you will slowly improve over time, like because you said you don't think it's healthy. so so probably you're working on that, right? So um but yeah, I mean, with alcohol, I have always allowed myself to have beer or wine. I'm more of a wine person. Uh, but I've never noticed that it ever hurt my weight loss ever. The only thing to be aware of is if you are intermittent fasting and then you have wine outside your meal. Okay, so like maybe you have dinner, because sometimes this would happen to me. We would have dinner an hour or two later. My husband would say, "Hey, you want to have a glass of wine?" Now the kids are in bed. I would have that glass of wine, and the next day, I usually felt like like a little bit more hunger, and sometimes not, sometimes nauseated. Um, so yeah, but it's good that you've. Thanks for sharing your results, Matt. Um, let's see. Christina, I'm glad you're here. Uh, let's see. If you're data nerd, trendweight.com is a great site to work with Fitbit. And like, ooh, thank you for putting that in there. The there are a couple of other good apps too. Fitbit will do an average for the week. If you look inside the app, it only gives you that one day. Like, it only goes week by week. It doesn't give you a new number all the like every single day. It's just like every week on Sunday, I think it takes your average. Um, there's also Happy Scale app, and there's also Libra. Libra, I think it's called Libra Weight Management or Libra Scale. Those are two good ones because they will do the averaging for you. The only thing about the Libra one, it seems like the calculations are just slightly different than what I would expect. Um, but anyway, anything that you can do to just look at how your weight is trending with an average. People tend, the reason I started doing this is because I read an article that talked about how when people paid attention to their average, the 7-day average weight, they tended to stick with their weight loss plan better, because that it's tough when if you're just looking at your weight every day, and then mine on average, just to let you know, it'll go up or down by a pound every day, and within a week it's like by 3 pounds, um, uh, or or five. I can't. No, I think it's 3.2 or something like that. So it's kind of hard to know if unless you're averaging like where your weight is headed. If you're trying to just like think about, well, I weighed 143 yesterday and now I weigh 144, and then like how do you really know that you're gaining or losing? But that averaging really does help. Let's see, Matt, I basically live off beer, coffee, water, meat, and vegetables. Food of champions. Sounds like. Let's see, failure to relax. I drink 2 and I lost 4 pounds last month. I cut back, didn't quit. Hey, that's great though. First of all, that's just small improvements. I think that's really good. Instead of just trying to swear something off and say I'm never going to have beer again. That's not very realistic if you like beer. But kind of cutting back a little bit. That's good. And you lost 4 pounds, so congratulations for that. I drink beer. It's natural ice, not light, and it's the healthiest beer out there per calorie. Oh wow, #1 beer for weight loss. Interesting. I didn't even know that there was a good beer for weight loss. So let's see. Thanks so much. It does help. I'm almost in my normal BMI. Yeah. Okay. So Isabella, yeah, be patient. That's good. That's great. If you're in, and like also with that, figuring out that weight you want to be at, and being happy, with your body, because one thing that was helpful for me with this was when I went on my 5-day fast. I did it for the cancer prevention benefits that I had read about, possible cancer prevention benefits that I had read about, and not for weight loss. I waited till I got down where I wanted to maintain. I did not want to do the whole like fasting thing, like an extended fast, because the extended fast, like after I did that, weight came back on, but I got down to like 133, and that was a good bit. It would probably take me at least, I would say, a year to get down that low, like just by doing OMAD or whatever. And I just, the more I like upsetting them and everything, the crazier I just drove myself crazy basically. I was just getting more and more stressed about every bite I put in my mouth. It just kind of took the joy out of eating too. Some people find counting calories really empowering, and they like it, and they have good results with this. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying for me, it didn't work. It just didn't work with my personality, I think, is probably even a better way to put it. But so
It froze again. So if you could just say the bottom line is that
bottom line, I don't count calories. Sorry that it froze again, you guys. Okay, so bottom line, I don't count calories. I assume that when I was in a deficit, I assume I was in some sort of deficit though. When I was actually losing weight with OMAD, and now that I'm maintaining, I'm assuming I'm eating in maintenance calories, I guess. You said in previous videos you did Wim Hoff breathing. Do you try cold showers? Because it's hard at first, but I like it now. Yes, I have been doing the cold shower thing. I actually will start out with warm and then switch it over to cold at the end, just because I enjoy a hot shower. Okay, so I do both, but I have been doing the breathing, and that has been amazing. It like me and Jay are going to do a whole podcast episode about it after we've done it for a little bit longer on our podcast, Living Outside the Box. But so I've been doing the breathing, and I can hold my breath. I think the longest I've done is like 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which is crazy. Like the first time I like actually held my breath, it was like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something like that. But so that's neat in and of itself. I've started doing the push-ups too afterwards, which has been interesting. And it's the most relaxed I think I've felt in like recent memory. It's crazy. Like after doing the breathing, man, I'm just completely relaxed. It's been really neat. And I watched the Wim Hoff documentary on Vice. That was neat. There's some interesting stuff with it for sure. Let's see, and then cold showers. For anybody out there who's never tried a cold shower, they're actually supposed to be really good for like like even like I've heard things that say that it's good for, if you're feeling depressed or, just down. Um, but man, it'll make you laugh if you just force yourself to just get in a cold shower. Um, but it's interesting just doing something like that on purpose to yourself. It won't hurt you, right? But I don't know. I think it's a neat thing to do, and I feel good doing it that way. So let's see. Mark, you asked what's the SAF on my shirt? That stands for Sweet Acre Farms. That's my sister's winery in Northeast Georgia, and they give me free T-shirts sometimes, so I wear them. Let's see. Is there any way to join the group without being on Facebook? No, sorry. I wish there was a better way to do some sort of group aside from being on Facebook. I don't know of one, because I don't particularly like Facebook, but it's like that's where everyone is, and hesitant to even form a group for a really long time, but it is what it is. But sorry, Paulini. Let's see. Let's see. I really think that support groups are so important. Just got back on OMAD, blood sugar back to normal. Thank you. Good, Gabriel. I'm glad to hear you're back and doing good. Awesome. I saw your post earlier, so I'm glad you're back. Where am I traveling to now? I will be traveling eastward. Right now, I'm in Louisiana. Louisiana is a gorgeous, gorgeous state. Like the bayous are just, it's beautiful, and crawfish farms everywhere. It's a neat. Oh, and we were in what was that place we're in, Jay? I can't think. Yeah, Lake Charles area. Lake Charles has all these refineries, and they've got these flame stacks, and it's a cool sight. Like if you're driving through there at night, man, it was neat. It was neat. Let's see. Hi, Thomas from Sweden here. Thank you for the inspiration. Oh, you're welcome. You're walking every day. Is that a way to burn calories, or do you have another reason why you're walking every day? Okay. So when I formed my plan, I thought, okay, I need to figure out some sort of exercise to do. And I wanted something I could do every single day. Like I didn't want to have to fool with going to the gym, and I didn't want to have to worry about taking a leg day or arm day or whatever. I just wanted something I could do every day. And I did it initially thinking I needed it probably for weight loss. And so that's why I started doing it. I don't really think it helps with weight loss. The more I researched it, the more I talked to other people, a lot of people who have done no exercise at all, still done OMAD, still lost plenty of weight. I think the big advantage of the 6 miles a day is the good mood it puts me in. It makes my thinking a lot clearer. I'm just in a better mood. And when you're in a good mood and you're feeling good, like it's easier to stick to your plan and just be more positive overall. So that's why I continue to walk the 6 miles. When I was maintaining in 2017, sometimes I would experiment with like not walking that day, just like, I would just eat normally, quote unquote, and I would not walk. And some days I would just, eat normally, and I would walk, and I was just comparing every day, like, okay, well, how did I feel this day? How did I feel that day? And I noticed on those days where I didn't walk, I was grumpy. And so I thought, it's a good way. It's a good habit. And it's, it's a chunk of my time, but it also puts me in a really good mood, makes me more productive overall. Because I do other things while I'm walking. A lot of times I'll, be planning out videos, or like when I was writing the book, I was thinking about chapters and stuff that I would write. So yeah, I keep walking, but not for the calorie burn. Really, I think that the walking 6 miles a day probably makes me hungrier. So I probably end up consuming more calories than I would if I didn't walk every day and just ate the way I eat. So that's my theory. Let's see. I always rinse with cold at the end of my shower until my hair is cold all the way through. It's invigorating. There is some opera at times. Yeah. It is so great though. Like it is really refreshing. I think you're right. Like that end, if you just make yourself do it, It's just try it out. If you've never done it, just try. At the end of your shower, just turn it on pure cold and just stand there and freeze for a minute until you start shivering, then stop. Or right before you start shivering, I think is what they say, to like turn it off once you start actually shivering. Um, let's see, what state am I originally from? Vicky asked. I am from Northeast Georgia originally. Some people say I have an accent. I don't know if I do or not. Farah, Farah, you're in here, and it's been a year since you started fasting. 54 pounds in a year. Hello, 54 pounds in a year. So that is 1 pound a week, everybody. Look at Farah. She has lost a pound a week, a little over a pound a week. I'm so proud of Farah. She's been like commenting on this channel for a really long time. So, so happy dance for Farah. And also, so is it unrealistic to lose the same amount the following year? So Farah, it depends on where you are, I think, in your BMI. So if you put that into Google, like BMI calculator, it'll pull up a little calculator and you can put in your height and your weight. Now, if you are close to a normal BMI, I think normal BMI is under 25. So if you're getting close to that normal BMI, then I don't think a pound a week is really realistic. That's based on my own experience and the experience of other people I've talked to. Now, some people maybe can lose faster, maybe, but it seems to be a very common thing that as you approach that normal BMI, it really tapers off. Doesn't stop completely, but you may find that it's just maybe a half a pound, maybe even a third of a pound. Because I really had the thinking when in 2017, when I started this channel, I thought, well, probably a half a pound a week is reasonable, and I was wrong. It was a third of a pound a week, so even less than what I thought it would be. But if you have that, like, I'm not rushing it, kind of, I just want to see how it'll progress, and you just don't stress out about it, and you don't do unsustainable things. I think those are the only things to really look at. Let's see. Fasting do I do? For the bulk of the time that I was losing weight, I was doing OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. But I did find that I could lose about a pound a week with 16-8, 18-6. Really, even when I was doing like a 14-10, I was still losing about a pound a week. Anything that I could be really consistent with. But and now that I'm in maintenance mode, I just kind of eat, sometimes 2 meals a day, sometimes 1 meal a day, sometimes 3. It just kind of depends. The main thing I'm always on the lookout for is not eating emotionally. So not just eating because I'm bored or because I'm stressed or tired or anything like that. Let's see. Any drinks to keep the hunger at bay? I'm drinking lemon water. I really like LaCroix. I love coffee with half and half. Unsweet tea. And then just getting busy too, like just getting busy doing something else, so that I don't even think about it. Nuke said, I wonder what part of Northeast Georgia. I'm originally from Alto, really small town. How do you control snacking habit with family and friends around? I plan and intend but fail to stick to OMAD. So that's a tough one when your family and friend or your family is snacking and you don't. I just had to not snack. I was just dead set on I'm not right now. I'm not going to eat right now. That's not when I eat. It got easier over time, but again, I kept myself busy, and that really helped. Okay, so Cornelia, Georgia, you got to be joking me. So Alto is like all of 10 minutes.
It's the next town.
It's the next town. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. What a small world. That is just insane. We are kin. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Man, what a small world. I tell you what. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining me. It has been a blast as always. Remember, you can join our Facebook group, or you can grab your all access pass to the private Facebook group where we have the group coaching every week. and you can get access to all the courses as they become available. And that's right. If I can lose weight, anybody can do it. Really, it's so true. Okay, and thank you guys for joining me. See you next week, same time, same channel, and I will see you later. So, Jay, turn me off.